Can't remember
He didn't even make me
anything.
one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell him. All right, I'm gonna write it down
Oh my
right now.
goodness.
Right now.
Hello, everybody. It
Where's
is 4 o'clock here on
make
December the 3rd.
intro?
We knew we were live. We were just thinking that we needed to do one of these intro things that it offers for you at the beginning of a live, and we can't remember to remind ourselves.
That's right.
We think about it when it comes up, and then it leaves.
I've been reading where everybody's from, and it's cold. It's cold in the U.S.
It's
for the
cold
most
in
part.
the U.S.
Look like it's cold.
You know, I saw somebody posted, it was a little funny thing about Florida, said we are not prepared for this. The temperatures in Florida were going to be like in the 40s.
Yeah.
Some places in the 30s.
They're not ready.
Well, it's not going to help me to leave Alabama and go to Florida.
No, I see. I don't know what it is right now. It's probably 40 something now, isn't it?
It's about 43.
It was mid-20s this morning.
24, I think, is what the low was.
Luckily, when the sun came out, it hadn't. The waters aren't barely frozen, so it's not cold for a long period of time.
Right.
Which has been great.
Well, you know, I looked outside first thing this morning out the side door, and there was Rocky drinking water, and I thought to myself,
yep. And that's in the shade.
Yeah, it is.
That's in the shade.
Then no waters. That was the indication to me that nobody's water froze.
And my cilantro's still living.
Oh.
So, which is good.
How big is it?
You need some?
Well, I saw somebody that freeze dried cilantro, and they said that was their favorite thing freeze dried to date.
Really?
So I'm hoping that we won't lose it. You know, all we got to do is take some PVC pipe and curve it over the top of those beds and make it look like an old timey wagon.
We could, but I got frost cloth, so I can just put the frost cloth on top of it.
But you don't want it to touch your...
It won't, because it's lower because of the raised bed.
Okay.
Yeah. We might do that. How low is it going to get tonight?
24 again, I think. But okay. Friday night, I believe it's going to be in the upper teens.
Okay.
So we may have to...
Oh, Mary, they're living in this.
She might rough. Be young Mary.
No, well, I didn't mean age-wise. But Mary, they live in it's rough over in Arizona.
Why?
And it's a chilly 79 degrees over there.
So I always thought that, you know, when I got tired of the cold, that I would go to Florida, and yeah. I know that that's not going to be the case. But yeah. Arizona may be calling my name.
And Arizona's that dry heat. Well, so we're not. We got this wet heat over here. It's just sticky and muggy, and you don't dry out, and everything sticks to you. And...
Look at there, somebody's from Germany. Tim, is that
Tina?
Tina. Yeah, I need my glasses.
Yeah,
they don't help me from this distance.
Let me pull this up closer.
No, I told you stop.
Arizona 77, Kathy.
Wow.
So maybe Arizona. Arizona's
the place to be.
It's snowing in northern Michigan. Knoxville. Oh, summer here in Australia.
That's right. They're the opposite season from us.
That's right. That's how come when they try to figure out the strain of the flu, they go off Australia.
Okay.
And that's how they figure out which flu vaccine they're gonna come out with.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what does Australia do? Just not have one?
I don't know.
They're just the guinea pig.
I don't know how that works. I just know that that's how we get ahead of the flu, because Australia's gonna get it first.
Okay.
Yep.
So we have scientists that study.
I don't know how that works.
I hope the flu won't be bad this year. I haven't heard of anybody having it.
You know what? I ain't heard of. It's funny because it was flu, and then the big C hit.
And you didn't hear it.
And now you ain't heard a word about the flu after that.
I don't want to hear a word about any of it.
That's crazy.
I don't even want to talk about being sick with a cold or, you know, ugh.
59 in Central Florida.
Well, that warmed on up.
71 in California, but I don't know what part they're from. I saw some earlier that was from Seattle, and it was in the 40s.
It's cold here. To me,
Cold
it's
in
cold.
Kentucky.
I have my thermals on under my sweatshirt. I had a thicker sweatshirt on.
Yeah.
But
no, arthritis doesn't like the cold. Tell my elbow.
I really honestly cannot tell that what I have is affected by cold. I can't tell a difference. No. And so that, there's an indication there of it's being treated as spondylitis.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
You asking the wrong fella.
Spondylitis.
I'm a wordsmith. I'm not a doctor, a medical doctor.
Okay.
I'm a doctor when it comes to the language, the English language.
Okay. Well, I just can't tell the difference when it's cold outside or when it's hot outside. I hurt the way I hurt, and that's that.
It's gone, but somebody said eggs are $6 a dozen in Bessemer.
I told y'all eggs were about to get in short supply, and it doesn't help me any because my chickens
they're on strike.
They are on strike.
4 to 5 a day.
4 to 5 a day.
That's what we're getting.
And
4 to 5 a day.
Been putting those away for us because we eat eggs. We eat eggs, but
we do eat eggs.
We take our extras and put them out at the stand. And we haven't had any extras. I didn't have any extras for Thanksgiving to put out. I know.
Well, there was cars stopping up there, and I felt so bad. But the girls, they on strike. I say that they're not on strike. They're on break.
They're on break.
They're on their winter break.
Catherine's are on their winter break too. So yeah. I know that it's just the neighborhood.
It is. I think we'll probably grab them a bag of corn the next trip to the and that ain't gonna make them lay, but the corn warms them up in the wintertime.
It does. Yeah. You don't necessarily want to feed corn too much in the summer because it will heat their bodies up.
Organic gal says she's getting 1 egg a day and she's got 20 chickens. That's the way it goes this time of year.
We probably got 80 and we're getting 4, so that's about right.
The days are just getting too short and then the weather
But I'm gonna tell y'all, how many have I increased by this year? I bought a dozen one time. The Bar Rocks were a dozen. I bought 10 Rhode Island Reds.
Yeah. But they ain't laying yet.
No, I'm saying for next year.
Oh, yeah.
So that's 22 more chickens. Yeah. And I know I probably bought 10 more in addition to that because, I had the Well Summers and the different variations there.
Yep.
So with 30 additional chickens next year, I should be getting 10 eggs instead of 5 eggs.
That's right. Which would be good.
That's what I'm anticipating. But you know what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Some of those old hens are going to stop laying, so we may just be getting 5.
That's true too.
It's a cycle.
I would say that, we talk about tips and mistakes, and I would say that that's a new one on my list now. When somebody asks about chickens or whatever, depending on how many you're going to get and all that kind of good stuff, but don't buy all your chickens at the same time and the same age.
Oh, yes.
Because what's going to happen is they're going to start slowing down. You're not going to get that many eggs because the older they get, the less they lay. And so I would mix it up.
Yeah.
I would definitely mix it up.
And then, as they grow older, you're going to lose some, whether you cull them or not due to them not laying eggs. We don't do that. But some people do.
They do.
They serve no purpose to them if they're not laying. And you got to go out with the old and in with the new if that's your way you do things. Mm-hmm. So having them in.
Yeah.
I don't know what the word is I'm trying to use. A series. My chickens are in a series.
A series.
How are the Silky chicks doing? They are doing very well.
They are doing good.
They are doing well. That mama is so happy to have babies. And it just seems like every time I go in there, there's heads peeking out of that wing. Mm-hmm. I just want to take their picture. But then again, I don't want to lift the top up and disturb them. So, yeah, they're doing very well.
That's right. They are doing well. And somebody was asking about Mr. Roy, the beekeeper, and he's doing good.
Roy is Rachel's daddy, who is part of
the Nectar Ninjas.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Our beekeepers. And he broke his hip back in the summer.
Yeah, I think that's right.
End of the summer. And he was visiting his son in Oregon, and he's doing very well. $10 for
that's
a dozen
in Canada,
eggs.
and that just reminded me. $10 a dozen in Canada. We will not. Rachel sent us a text yesterday or day before yesterday.
Whenever it was.
Rachel sent us a text the other day, and
Succession. That's what I have.
That's what you're looking for.
Yeah, thank you.
And she was shipping out some things, and somebody bought something from Canada. Now we've talked about the price of shipping to Canada, but it was big red bold letters, and it says the post office is no longer sending or shipping to Canada right now because the Canada post workers are on strike.
That's right.
So we had a big meeting with everybody, and we kind of regrouped, and so now it's coming either, I think UPS is what we end up having to do on Canada orders. So I'm glad I saw that, because I meant to talk about that and forgot about it. And
that's one of those things, like when it says your intro at the top, that's when we remember.
That's right.
So y'all got to keep us going.
That's
keep
right.
us up on the up and up.
Yep. So he Canada postal workers are on strike.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't have no idea why.
It's probably not good timing either.
That is terrible timing.
They could have picked like July.
I'm sure they did it on purpose because that gives them more leverage.
Well,
so because I'm sure it has something to do with money and that kind of thing.
You're probably right.
They got good leverage right now.
But you know what we're not going to do? Even if our hens start back laying tomorrow and we start getting a dozen eggs, we're going to still sell our eggs at $4. We're not going to raise the price of our eggs. Some places, like, y'all, we have a guy that lives here in our county, and he has hatcheries all over the United States.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the most knowledgeable poultry persons I've ever talked to, and he's young. But with him having hatcheries all over the United States, he has a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
And you can imagine he knows what's going on in the chicken industry. And some people tend to say when egg prices go up and they say it's due to bird flu, that it's hogwash, so to speak. But this gentleman told us about this probably a month ago.
Yeah.
And told us about some of his
birds,
his hatcheries out west that he has bird flu, and how many thousands of chickens he's lost.
Yeah, it's crazy. And
that firsthand information told me it's not just made up.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Now, I do know that supply and demand, drives things. And I'm sure if retailers can raise the price of things, they do. But we also know that he's lost a bunch of chickens.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's in the hatchery business.
He's not in the egg.
He's not in the egg business, but he said it was pretty rough out there this year.
And he's supplying chickens to egg farmers and production farms.
Yep.
So factual information there.
That's right.
I don't want none of that bird flu over here. And
at our farm. Please, no. Luckily, not.
A few years ago, it was not far from us.
It was not far from us, but it is. You hear of it, but it's really rare for a backyard flock.
Well,
you hear stories because they're going to pick the bad stuff out there, but it is pretty rare.
The thing is it's spread by wild birds, and you don't know where that bird with the bird flu is going to land to expose your flock. Luckily, I say luckily, I fuss about it because our geese won't let pretty much anything land in our pond, which may be a good thing.
Yep.
But and that's why I said luckily. But it's kind of sad because then you got like Jacqueline over at Head Family Farm told me just a few weeks ago that every year she has a pair of hooded mergansers to visit her pond. We won't have that because
Our geese are running
our
off.
geese are
Yeah.
too territorial.
How much do you think eggs are in Australia? Cage free.
An emu egg would probably be $1 a piece.
Chicken egg.
Cage free in Australia.
Yeah.
I have no earthly.
$5 to $8.
Well,
Yep.
that's
$5
not
to
that
$8.
bad.
Yep, that's not that bad.
No.
If you stayed in that $5 range, that wouldn't be that bad at all.
But I tell y'all, if I had to pay $10 for a dozen eggs, I'd be real hesitant whether I had eggs for breakfast or oatmeal.
Ain't that the truth?
I mean, I would have to use my eggs for things that I had to have eggs for.
Man, that's crazy.
I just hopefully it doesn't ever come back to that time when eggs were just they stayed high.
Yeah.
For how long was it?
I
It
don't
seemed
know.
like a year. I don't know how long it was.
I don't know.
Imagine you were somebody like Pies by Mike.
Yeah, I know. I mean, eggs are yes, yeah. That is something you don't think about that would affect so much stuff.
Yes, so many restaurants and so many
bakeries and
yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, Little Debbie's would go through the roof.
$4 in Huntsville, $4 in Tampa, $10 in Chicago. That's crazy. It depends on where you are. $6.79 for organic. That's
and it may be where the birds are having the problems.
That and then I'm sure feed prices vary in regions too. That would depend on a lot of it.
And I said our eggs aren't going up. Now, if feed prices were to go up or go through the roof, then we would have no choice.
We would have to go up, yeah.
But just to keep up with the price of retailers, we wouldn't do that.
Do I have tennis elbow? I got something. I do think it is it feels a little bit better today. Everything I've read about it, and usually it does clear up. But you just have to do nothing.
And when I was in high school and played softball, I had a time with my arm. It was my throwing arm. I ended up having to go to the doctor
for a cortisone shot.
No. Oh. I don't know what he just kind of told me to take NSAIDs and to try to reduce the inflammation as much as I could. But I don't have any problem with it today. So it went away. And I kept playing ball.
It does. It's funny that I saw this, caught my eye because
we're still going on the price of eggs.
Eggs. It's by $21. That's 5 dozen. $22 for 5 dozen.
Okay.
So
that scared me.
So what caught my eye is that somebody said there were 6 something at the Piggly Wiggly, and I bet not everybody has ever heard of the Piggly Wiggly.
Oh, yes, Jason.
But that is a grocery store here in the South.
I saw this map of the most
they got Piggly
prominent grocery stores
in
the United States, and there were Piggly Wigglies in places that I never would have thought it.
I never would have thought Piggly Wiggly got above Tennessee.
Now, I wish I had screenshot it and showed it to you because I was amazed that there was Piggly Wigglies other than Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and Mississippi. Maybe a few Tennessees.
Yeah, Mr. Thomas, I am. He said he starts hurting when it gets cold, and I'm just getting old, and it's just part of it. It don't stop me. I just like today picking up the gas can with this arm.
You mean the pig?
The pig. So picking up with this arm's fine, but I can't go but this high. That's it. It just starts hurting. I can't.
We had to tag team putting the gas in the tractor.
I had to tag team putting the gas, and you say you're right-handed, but you don't realize how much you use your left hand for because this is my left. Thankfully, it's my left hand, but it is. I do think if I had a guy, I think I'm going to end up, if it don't clear up in the next week or so, I'm going to call my buddy, Dr. Park, and they got Piggly Wiggly in
North
Ohio.
Carolina, West Virginia.
I can see that, but Ohio's got one, and Wisconsin.
See, I'm telling you, I saw that, and my mouth dropped. I was like, Piggly Wiggly?
Piggly Wiggly.
In the north part of the country?
Yo, I know we've talked about this before, but the Piggly Wiggly when I was a kid here was so cool, and I loved going as a kid because of the buggies they had.
Yep, you rode on the bottom of it.
Which is a grocery cart. We call them
We
buggies
forget
here.
that we have to explain our slang.
I know. They're buggies here in the South. So it was so cool because the top was really thin, but you could get all your groceries in it.
Yeah, yeah.
It was really thin, and the bottom was wide open.
It was made for a kid to sit under there.
Oh man, you could get in that grocery cart, and it was the greatest thing ever.
Can you imagine what somebody would say, like say at our Walmart, if you said to somebody, "Do you need a shopping cart?"
Oh, they would look at you like you're crazy.
They would be like, "You talking Southern? And you from California? It's a buggy."
Oh, it's a buggy. It's a buggy. They're called buggies in Missouri. Oh, good.
Okay.
Look at that. There's a pig. The pig is in Illinois.
Piggly Wiggly in Chicago. See, I knew I wasn't crazy.
Wow.
And we do have a Piggly Wiggly in Chilton County.
We do.
But it's in Jemison, which is where Petals from the Past is.
Yeah.
So about 25 miles. And I am not going to drive 25 miles when I can just go down the road to the grocery store. Say down the road.
Somebody said we used to cruise to the Piggly Wiggly in Clanton in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
The pig.
I stopped in a Piggly Wiggly on the way home. It's been a couple years ago. I got ingredients for chili. Now, why do I remember that? And I can't remember these other things.
And you stopped at the pig?
Yes, it was on 31. It was in Deatsville.
Mm-hmm.
And it was super nice. I probably haven't been in one since I was a kid.
It's been a while.
I take that back.
It's been a while.
I take that back. Jason's granddaddy that recently passed away at 101 years old had a little dog. She was a little Yorkie.
That's right.
Her name was Gigi.
Gigi.
And Gigi and me were like peas and carrots. I got a cough. So granddaddy had the car crash, and I think most of you remember us talking about that. That's after that is when granddaddy couldn't drive anymore. He lost his license.
Mm-hmm.
So granddaddy was in the hospital for quite some time after that car wreck. And I took Gigi. Gigi came to live with us until granddaddy was well enough to get Gigi back. Well, one thing about Gigi was she would eat only one kind of dog food. He loved this dog with all his heart. He would have fed her $100 bag of dog food that was this tall.
He would have.
But he could not get her to eat anything but this dog food called None Better.
Was it None Better?
None Better.
I thought it was Come and Get It, but it's None
Better.
That's what she loved.
I can remember me taking him to the doctor in Birmingham.
Yeah.
We lived in Valley Grande or Selma at the time. And he said, go up there to Jemison and go to that Piggly Wiggly and stop. And I said, why? This was before the car crash now. This was just a doctor visit.
I got you.
I knew what to feed her once he had the car crash. He went in and I said, Granddaddy, what are we getting? And he said, we're getting None Better. And I didn't know what None Better was. He said, it's all that dog of mine will eat.
None Better.
So we got Gigi a bag of None Better. And, of course, from that point forward, I knew what Gigi ate.
None Better.
I had two
I can
Yorkies.
see the bag now.
I can too. I had 2 Yorkies at the time. And mine were, oh my goodness, very accepting of Gigi, thankfully. They just treated Gigi like she had been there the whole time.
They did.
But we had stopped at Piggly Wiggly because you could not get the None Better anywhere else but Piggly Wiggly. And we didn't have a Piggly Wiggly in Selma.
Mr. Bob said he worked at a Piggly Wiggly in Eastern Kentucky 60 years ago.
Oh my gracious. So he remembers those buggies without the bottom, even though
he probably does.
They might not have had a bottom on them 60 years ago, because we're talking, I was about to say 30 years ago, but no, we're talking 40 years ago. 45 years ago.
Yeah. I have been, somebody want to know, I should start taking turmeric, and I have. I've been taking it for over a week now, and I haven't seen any. If it has been, it's been slight. I hadn't seen much change in my elbow, so I don't know. It's tendonitis or something. It's right up in here, and if I touch it in the wrong spot,
It hurts on the outside?
if I hit it, if I bump it, touch it in the wrong spot or squeeze it in the wrong spot, yeah,
Huh.
it's tender.
Mine was never like that. It was
It's
just
tender.
when I threw. It was just, just
It is tender. But yeah, I've been taking the turmeric. I was hoping that was gonna help me out some, but so far it hasn't. So maybe it will.
Oh,
It's not a
yeah,
burning pain. It just hurts. No burn to it.
you're gonna have to call Park and see.
Get a cortisone shot. A cortisone shot. I had a shoulder problem for a while. Matter of fact, I thought I had a torn rotator cuff. What I thought I had, and so I went to my buddy Dr. Park, and he did X-rays, and he said I don't see anything, but I'm not a specialist in this, so let's get you set up. And so they sent me to a specialist, and I got arthritis in my
You went
shoulder.
to Health South.
I got arthritis in my shoulder, and I had a bone spur there too.
Well, I recently had an X-ray on my left shoulder because they just checking to see how bad what I have is, and I have a bone spur in this arm, and I didn't know it.
I didn't know it either, but they wasn't worried about the bone spur, and he gave me a cortisone shot. And how long ago was that?
Oh goodness,
10 years ago?
I don't think Mary Carl was born.
She was born because we had horses.
Okay, so 12 years ago.
10 to 12 years ago, and it has never came back. And that was it. That cortisone shot knocked it out, and it never came back. I have no more issues with this shoulder again.
They want to know what style turmeric are you taking?
I don't know.
Golden paste is the best.
Okay, I'll go look then. I will look. Make sure. Tell Pocket to kiss my elbow. You're probably right. I might get Pocket to kiss my elbow.
She probably will.
She would.
Y'all, that little
gracious.
Horse, she is something else. She has really, really settled in.
Oh, she is settled in now.
I had a bad day Sunday and was just decided I was going to rest. Her previous owners reached out to me and they told me they wanted to come for a visit. And I said, that is absolutely fine. I said, I may or may not come and visit y'all, but you know how to get in. Jason was with Caden working outside.
Yeah, well, Caden was working me to death.
And they came and they visited with Pocket. And later that evening, I reached out to them and, made sure that they thought everything was good. And of course they did. So I'm glad they came.
Yep.
And I wasn't able to visit, but they were very understanding. And I took a nap. I laid down Sunday and I must say I didn't feel much better when I got up, but I knew I needed a rest. So I'm better today.
Talking about her, I see people asking about her jacket. Oh, she loves her jacket.
She loves that jacket.
She loves her jacket.
I would have never thought when I put that jacket on her for the first time, which was in your video. That was the first time.
That was the first time.
I didn't even know how it went on.
Right.
That she would have stood there and let me put that thing over her head, through her head. Like you're putting a kid's sweatshirt on. That's how you put Pocket's jacket on.
Yeah, I took it off and I took it off wrong.
Well, you didn't know. It's got a lot of buckles on it and they never took the chest part undone. They just slipped it over her head because she's that easy going.
That's right.
She's ready for a jacket. And she's had it on every night that it's dropped below 40, which has been quite frequently.
That's right.
I put it on her as soon as the temperature starts going down in the afternoon. And I feed her every 6 hours, just as the owners did previously. So she gets her jacket on and then I come back and feed her. And somebody had asked one time before, why don't I feed the goats and Pocket at the same time? And that's why.
6 hours apart.
Because the goats are ready to be fed and ready to go up at sundown.
That's right.
And Pocket, her next feeding 6 hours.
6 hours
is
apart.
A little bit later.
Yeah. So. That's right.
I just make 2 trips.
I do. A lot of people are asking about the turmeric. I don't mean to change subject. And the black pepper. I did get the one that has the black pepper in it with it. So
you did right there.
I did right there. So somebody said Lester had to get a cortisone shot in his knee and his shoulder. If I get a cortisone shot in my elbow and it does like it did my shoulder, man, that would be the ticket.
Lester's 20 years older than you, though. I had to say it. It was the perfect opportunity.
Oh, man, that'll be in his next live.
Yeah, I figured it would be. I figured it would
How
be.
much Brooke can't stand me.
Mhm.
Brooke don't like me.
Brooke don't like me. Brooke loves you. She don't like you. Brooke loves you.
Oh my gracious. Oh, I sound like Jerry Clower. Oh,
That got us messed up, didn't it?
oh my goodness.
What you got,
goodness.
Jason?
Well, I was gonna show, and you know I see these things, and I gotta show it to you. And this was one that popped up.
What
In
in the world is that, Jason?
you don't know what this is.
Oh, it's a matchbox race car track.
It was the city.
Oh yeah, I know all about that. There's most things I don't know about, but I know about this.
And I saw this pop up, and I forget what the caption was. You know, if you had this as a kid, you had a good childhood, or something silly like that. And I thought to myself, I was like, oh my, because I had this.
I had that too.
I
had a car wash.
I had this right here. It was a Matchbox City. I hate that glare. Right here. And it folded up. It was a little case.
Into a case. So you could take it to grandma's house or Lester's house or wherever you were going.
And I bet I played with this thing. And I kind of wonder if it's still in the attic at my mom's house. I'm about to go in that attic one
But
day.
you know they had a fire. Do you remember that?
That's true.
There was a fire and they had to rip all the insulation out and redo it. So I'm kind of thinking it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Because the attic suffered the most damage from that fire.
But I got this for Christmas.
This year?
No, not this year.
I thought you were saying that's what you got.
No, but I did get this. This was Hot Wheels. I said Matchbox, but it's Hot Wheels. I remember it just like, I mean, every piece of it. The garage, the tire.
Did yours have the car wash?
Yeah,
mine had a car wash.
Yeah, right there.
That's it. That's the one I had too.
That's it. And you could drop the car off and it would go all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah. And that was so entertaining. Boy, if I had something like that would entertain me today, I would be in business.
So I remember that, and I started thinking, man, I love that. And I was like, what other Christmas present I got that I remember was, just get some.
I remember bicycles. You always wanted a new bicycle. You couldn't get one till Christmas.
I did get a bicycle one year. It was a Huffy, and I do remember it. But I
got a bicycle, and I wanted one of those, trick bicycles.
Yeah, the freestyle bike.
Mine was like not, it came from Walmart or Sears or somewhere like that. They didn't have the name brand ones. They had the more generic ones. What I wanted was a Red Line or, one of the high dollar ones. So
Taro.
Yeah. Well, my mom and daddy always told me that they did not know how to get to a bicycle shop. They didn't know where one was.
Yeah.
And I think they were being honest because
Montgomery had one.
Well, but there was no
Google. There was no Google
search.
There was no Google.
Unless you had friends that knew where to get it.
Yep.
My friends were girls.
Yep.
They didn't ride trick bicycles. But I got this bicycle and I really wanted the trick bicycle. So you know what I did?
What?
I painted it. I painted it yellow and blue to look like one of those expensive bicycles. Now, I didn't paint it initially. I let it go.
Yep.
Till 2 years later when I still didn't have what I wanted. I painted it to look like one.
That's all you had to do. I did the same thing with my skateboard.
Did you?
So, of course, skateboards real popular, and the same thing. You had all these name brand skateboards, and then you had the Walmart one, and I had the Walmart one, which was like Veriflex or something like that. And I painted mine to look like a town and country skateboard.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Well, see, we were inventive back then. We didn't pout.
We didn't pout.
We didn't pout. We just figured out a way to make it work.
Figured out a way. I remember the stone-washed blue jean overalls were real popular.
Well, I remember a Coca-Cola shirt. I remember unwrapping that Coca-Cola shirt. Mine was red. Said Coca-Cola right here in white and then red at the bottom.
Well, you're talking about, I couldn't get the name brand stonewashed overalls. So me and my mom took some liberties, and we put Clorox here and there, and I kind of made my own.
Well, that's a good thing.
Talking about the bicycles, I remember. So I did eventually get me, but it wasn't a name brand. It was called a Laser, but it wasn't the you had Dinos and Haros and Diamondbacks and
Don't forget the red line.
Red line. You had those. Those were like the Cadillacs, and this was like the Oldsmobile. So I got the Oldsmobile, and I want everything to get going in that. I don't know how many times. Every time we went to Montgomery, I'd beg to take me to the bicycle shop. And when you walk in there, that smell of that rubber tire. Oh man.
I remember that.
Bottle that up and I sprayed in my house.
Years later, I remember that. Of course, not when I was needing a bicycle.
Oh my goodness.
They couldn't find
that
it.
Bicycle tire smell, that bicycle tire shop. Oh.
That's sirens.
Arlo's gonna start howling. Watch him.
We don't hear sirens out here.
Not many, but when they do, Arlo starts howling if he hears it.
He must not
hear
hear
it. He may not hear it though. But I started thinking about other Christmas presents I got. So I remember the Atari 2600.
Yes. I had an Atari TI 99 4A. It was actually my daddy's, but
yeah,
I called it mine.
The Atari 2600. And then all my other buddies.
It wasn't an Atari. Mine was Texas Instruments. But you could play games on it.
You could play games on it. So we got the Atari. That was me and my brother. That was a
shared Christmas present.
Because that Atari was like $150, and $150 back in 1983 was like $400. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was our Christmas. So we got the Atari 2600. That was mine and my brother's Christmas present that year. Love that. And then of course some of my buddies got it, and we would swap games and that kind of thing. But another one I remember was GoBots. Do you know what a GoBot is?
I don't.
You don't know what a GoBot is. Okay, so GoBots were before Transformers.
Huh.
They wasn't near as complex and
maybe I do, but I never had
as a
one.
Transformer. But GoBots were. So I got a mess of GoBots for Christmas.
Don't let me forget.
Cabbage Patch dolls?
Yes. Tanya. I was a Cabbage Patch girl. I had several of them and always desired to have more. But yes, Cabbage Patch. I'm so glad she said that, because that was something that I always wanted. I'd always circling in that catalog, and I'd have
Sears and J.C. Penney's catalog,
and they'd only have certain dolls released each year, and I'd have them all circled,
all circled.
But they had to pick one out of the ones that I circled. So, Tanya, yep, I'm right there with you, girl.
My buddy. Somebody got a My Buddy doll for Christmas.
Well, how
wherever I go,
he goes.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, a Red Ryder BB gun. I did get a Red Ryder BB gun. That's what Michael Key said. I did get that. I also remember getting a 410 for Christmas one year when my daddy, I got to say this right because we got in trouble. We got in big trouble by the YouTube police last time when we talked about this, but it's raccoon hunting.
Yes.
We can't abbreviate that word.
We got in trouble.
Got in big trouble. So yeah. I got a 410 and some hip waiter boots and my own nightlight.
For your raccoon hunting trips.
Because my dad was a big raccoon hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And one that was crazy, and I bet a lot of people got this one too. The Snoopy snow cone machine.
Yes.
Oh, and tell me that is not to this day the best snow cones you've ever eaten in your life.
Did you? You didn't. You didn't ever have an easy bake oven.
I didn't have an easy bake oven.
Because you were a fella.
I did, but I had the Snoopy snow cone machine where you put the ice in there and you put the top
and
you
it had
do
the
like
little
this.
cones. Those little cones that came with it. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And like if you ran out of the cones, your mom and daddy didn't want to buy you anymore because they cost a lot.
Yeah.
The actual cones, you had to make, use a glass or something plastic. It didn't want to fit in there quite right.
Do they still make the easy bake oven?
They
because I would think y'all think about back then. You're giving your kid an oven. That's why I mean house fires started because of the Easy Bake Oven.
I remember they had one when Mary Carl was little.
Really?
Because I thought she's not gonna like that. She's not gonna use that, and I ended up not getting it.
Huh.
But yes. So yes, Easy Bake Oven.
Easy Bake Oven.
Those brownies, oh goodness. It was a little pan that came with it, and some little brownie mix. And of course, you wanted your mom and daddy to act like it was the best thing you ever could have cooked in your
it was
entire
terrible.
life. Yeah, that stuff.
Just... You know it's terrible. I saw somebody said something that reminded me. I remember 2 toys my brother had. Good, I guess I was too young to play with them, but my brother had, and that was Stretch Armstrong and the Evel Knievel on the motorcycle where you turn it like this on that thing. You know what I'm talking about? So it had a little stand. And it had a wheel on it, and you crank it up, and Evel Knievel's motorcycle sat on it. Like this.
I don't remember that.
Oh, and you go,
and it took off the stand?
And then it would, boom, take off the stand.
I remember I had a remote control truck. It was a big old jacked up red truck that had a remote control to it.
Yeah.
No wire that held it. And where I lived was a dead end, and there was a circle. And I could, take it on the pavement around that dead end. But if it got off in the grass, I was going to have to go get it and rescue it because it didn't have the power to make it through. But that was a fun.
Light bright. I always wanted a light bright.
I had a light bright.
I never got a light bright. Some friends of mine had light brights, but I've never had a light bright. I'm trying to think of some toys that you wanted that you never did get.
And we got Mary Carl a light bright. You remember that? It was made totally different.
It
didn't have like the black construction paper.
It was weird.
It was different. It was totally different. It was a modern light bright.
Very, very different.
And she didn't really care for it. It was
she didn't.
She'd rather have a pencil and some colored pencils and a piece of paper.
I never had Lincoln Logs. Somebody said Lincoln Logs.
Lincoln Logs.
I had my buddy Stan. He had Lincoln Logs. He liked that kind of stuff, and I'd go over there and play with it. But somebody said Operation. Now I remember Operation.
I had Operation.
We got Mary Carl Operation. We game later on.
Mm-hmm.
But the original Operation. Tell me, y'all, there's nothing. You can't be more nervous in your life when you're trying to go in there and get that hard or the Charlie horse or whatever it was in Operation. Hitting that side would just...
You're going to jump out of your skin.
Oh.
But just think, there are surgeons that operate on people for the first time, and they feel the same exact way as you do.
I hope not.
I'm not trying to scare anybody.
I hope not.
But that surgeon's feeling that same
feeling
that you felt when you played that game when they operate for the first time on a real human.
Oh my goodness. I saw Michael Key said he got a sleeping bag.
Yes, I had a
year,
sleeping bag.
And that's because we went to them lock-ins.
Mine had Smurfs on it.
Yours had Smurfs.
Had Smurfs on it. I love the Smurfs.
You like Smurfs?
I love the Smurfs. And I was so scared of Gargamel. He scared me. I was all about some Smurfs until Gargamel came on.
I had Rock'em Sock'em. Somebody said Rock'em Sock'em. I had that.
I don't know what that is.
So you had 2. They were robots. They're like robots, and they were boxers. And it was a plastic ring, and you would take the controller.
Oh, they were white, weren't they?
Well, one was blue, one was red.
Okay, I remember seeing it.
And they would do like this, and if you hit him in the right spot, his head would go up. Etch a sketch. I had an etch. Yep. I can't even say that. That reminded me though. I had one. I tell you what, one of my favorite toys, and I got for Christmas was the original, and it was called WWE and WWF back then. I had the ring, and I had some of the rubber wrestlers.
I didn't have any of those.
The original ones.
I don't know why I never asked for that, because I told y'all
my goodness.
that my daddy would have to work at the funeral home all night, every fourth night. So that meant a lot of time me and my mama were alone.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd sleep in the bed with me when he was gone to, work. And I would want to watch wrestling because it came on pretty late.
That's right.
And she'd doze off, and I'd be like, Mama, get up. Ric Flair's about to come on. Mama, it's about to be Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. And she was like, huh?
She didn't
Let me
care.
go to sleep.
She didn't care.
But I didn't have the any of those.
She did not care.
No, we have spent the entire live talking about Christmas presents, but it was fun.
Mousetrap. A buddy of mine had Mousetrap. Do you remember that one?
No.
So it was a game you would put it together, and I'm trying to think how it went, but when you put it together, it would create kind of the cool chain of events, and you would catch the mouse at the end. So it was like a marble would roll and hit this piece, and then that piece would hit another piece, and that would trigger another piece, and it was pretty cool.
I just remembered something that I had that was probably one of my most favorite presents.
What's that?
It was this game, and it had blue, green, red, and yellow.
Simon Says.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
It was called Simon Says?
I'm almost positive.
And it would light up, and you would have to follow
and
the
you'd have to follow. Isn't that Simon Says?
Well, Michael said Simon Says, but I didn't know that's what it was called.
I know that's what it was called.
They're saying Perfection.
I swear that was Simon Says.
But it never spoke. It didn't say Simon Says do this.
No, it didn't say Simon Says.
It was just a light up thing.
Yes, that's what it was called. Maybe it was Simon. It was called Simon.
But it was 4 colors, and you would have to dun, 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 and you would have to try to remember. There it goes. If you messed
that's
up.
it. That's it. It's called Simon. I'm adding the says to it. Another game I remember talking about that. This wasn't mine. This was one that I would sneak from my brother. Was the old football game. It was a little old thing like this, and it had these little teeny red dots.
Oh, I remember that. I didn't have it, but I remember friends that had it.
And you would have to run for a touchdown. You couldn't get hit by the other red dot.
I always thought that was crazy.
I love that game.
My mama kept kids, so that was probably something that a kid brought, to our house as a Christmas present.
Probably so.
Huh. Funny.
Simon. That's Simon.
That brings me back to when Mary Carl was little.
Mm-hmm.
We always, of course, ask, what did she want for Christmas? And there's one thing that sticks out to both me and you.
And this was early, so Mary Carl's vocabulary wasn't that great.
She was probably 2 at the time.
She was her first year at pre-K.
Well, she was 2.
That'd be 2 or 3. Okay.
She was 2.
Yeah.
She started going to Lika's when she was 2, and she told us all she could tell us was she wanted a dog on a stick. Did y'all hear that right?
A dog on a stick.
A dog on a stick.
Yep.
And we could not figure out what a dog on a stick was. And thinking back, I think she was talking about a dog, a real dog on a leash.
Maybe. I don't know. They had kind of toys. Like, I don't know. It was very, very weird.
It was very weird. But we ended up finding what we thought was the dog on a stick.
That's right.
And she didn't show much emotion when she opened it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that we gave her the dog
on a stick. I don't think so either.
But she would draw pictures of a dog with a stick on it. Like, I think now, thinking back, it was a leash.
Yeah.
I think she was asking for a dog.
Who's this? Maybe it was Invisible Dog. Somebody said Invisible Dog. You know what the Invisible Dog is? So it looked like a leash, but had a wire in it. So you'd act like you was walking the dog, and there was nothing there.
Oh.
And I remember this to this day. So I stayed with my Aunt Sandra and my Uncle Aubrey.
Uh-huh.
While my mom and dad went to the Sugar Bowl. Can't remember who Alabama played. I'm guessing I'm 5, 6, 7 years old, somewhere in there. They came back from New Orleans, and that's what they brought me and my brother, was an invisible dog.
An invisible dog. How about that?
Oh, me.
Somebody said what Mary Carl was asking for was a corn dog. That's a dog on a stick.
Oh,
That's
man.
pretty funny, isn't it?
Oh, spirograph. Now I didn't have spirograph. I wanted a spirograph. That's one toy I never did get.
I don't know what that is.
But my buddy Stan had a spirograph. That's where you would take, they looked like gears. They were plastic circles and they had little gears on them. And it had all different variations. So you would stick your pen in the hole and you would set up different little round gears and you would go around and it would make that spiral design.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I had Battleship. I saw Battleship come up a lot. We had Battleship, and I did enjoy playing that as a kid. Did you have that?
No.
The commercials would I always remember.
I didn't have Battleship.
You sang my Battleship. Remember that commercial?
No, I don't. But
oh goodness, here we go.
Oh goodness. On Thanksgiving Day, the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Parade comes on.
Yeah.
And so I reminded us that the parade's on.
Yeah.
And so we turn the TV on and we never ever watch regular TV. And Mary Carl was laughing so hard at the commercials. And Mama came over and she sat down on the couch with Mary Carl and she was just telling Mama how comical the commercials were because she never has seen them. We've always, even when Mary Carl was born, we were already doing no cable, no satellite, only, what do you call it? On demand TV.
Yeah.
We were only using, Hulu and Roku.
Well, Mary Carl first came up, we were DVR.
First came up.
We were DVR and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
We didn't have on demand then. We would just DVR everything for her.
It seems like from the time we ordered her up that she's had on demand TV.
Oh me. Oh me.
We ordered her up.
We ordered up.
We did.
Oh, I saw something. It was a long time ago in this conversation here. And somebody said, did you know what place in Alabama don't have mosquitoes?
I don't know.
Deetsville.
Oh, my gracious.
If you're from Alabama, you get it. But we got a town real close to us named Deetsville. And I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, they probably don't have many mosquitoes.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Pound puppies.
Now, I had a pound puppy.
Did you have a pound puppy?
Yes.
My friend, I had neighborhood friends. I think, I had school friends and I had neighborhood friends because we went to different schools. And my neighborhood friends, Amber, she had pound puppies.
I had two of them. I remember I had a white one and a brown one. And boy, they made a mistake making a white one. Oh, I can remember how dirty that dog was.
I bet.
That pound puppy. Puppies. Yep. Pound puppy.
Oh, geez. Pet rock. I had a cousin that had a pet rock. I did.
Well.
Oh, the pet rock.
That was some fun memories thinking back on. And we thought we didn't have anything to talk about today. But I got to say something before I forget.
What's that?
I shared this on my Facebook page earlier, and I have got to get y'all to watch it. It is a little tidbit about my friend Laura from Simply Making It, who makes goat milk soap and other products. I've told y'all before, I don't know that we would be where we are today without Laura and Chip mentoring us. But the little segment that's done on Laura, I shared on my Facebook page. It's Alabama Public Television. It's who did the segment. It's just 4 minutes. But y'all, they did an amazing job at her interview. And Laura, her personality just shines. It's just, if you get a chance to watch it, go over to Ms. Coghill Facebook. And
that was PBS.
Well,
or Alabama
Public Television.
Gotcha.
I shared it, but It's like I said, it's just a short thing. But she's so passionate about what she does. She does it because it makes her happy, It brings her joy, and it's kind of like us. We'd have these animals if it wasn't for YouTube.
Mhm.
And Laura would be making soap if she didn't have,
That's right.
A business to
That's
sell
right.
it.
That's right.
So it's just a very touching story. And I must say, grab a tissue because you might have some tears towards the end. It's happy tears, though.
Oh, good. Gotta ask you something.
What's that?
Do you remember the name of your Cabbage Patch dolls?
No.
You don't? Somebody said theirs name was Olive.
No. But I got them.
They're in the closet.
I got
If
them.
I'd have known we'd have got this deep, I'd have brought them out. And I saw somebody say Raggedy Ann and Annie.
I have that.
I had one of those too.
We have those still.
And I'll tell you, and so mine, did yours have a little heart? Mine had a little heart.
My meanwhile made mine.
Okay, well, mine had a little heart, it was a tattoo, but I tried to give mine Coke, and it had stained.
Oh, my gracious, Jason.
It did. Stained him all up. And I think I got mine because when I went through all the eye surgery when I was a kid, all the different ones, in the waiting room, they had a Raggedy Ann and Andy doll in there. And I think that's why I ended up getting one, because I would gravitated to it, as most kids would. But I saw one more I got to say.
What's that?
The Big Wheel.
Oh, the big wheel.
Oh, my.
Oh, the big wheel.
And you know what my fondest memory about the Big Wheel was? Is that you get on that concrete or the asphalt, and if you were too fast, it would slip. You couldn't get no traction. You know what I'm talking about?
I told you about the fireman stopping me from going out into the road. I would not be here today if it hadn't been for that.
That's right.
I got to pedaling so fast, my mama couldn't run as fast as I could pedal, and I was headed out into a busy street. There was a fire department at the end of this road, and a fireman stepped out and stopped me. Otherwise, I probably would not be here today. My mama I got in big trouble.
You probably did.
Because, I should have been listening.
That's right.
But I was pedaling.
Now, the neighborhood, this is when we lived in town. I had a regular big wheel, but a friend of mine had that big wheel with a brake on the side.
Oh, mine didn't have a brake.
You could get that thing going and turn sideways and hit that brake.
Well, did it have rubber tires or the plastic ones?
It was plastic. It was the way it worked is it had a lever right here, and you would pull it. And when you pulled it, it had a arm that swung down and hit that rear tire on that one side. Of course, only one side's gonna stop, which means you're gonna spin that thing
and turn sideways.
Turn sideways with it.
Do you remember when Mary Carl was little and we had that little seat that she sat in, and you made the little video, the Talladega 500?
Oh yeah, that's right.
We'll have to share that sometime.
We'll have to share that.
She got so tickled. She'd get to going in that little car and get to laughing, and that was probably the first thing that I remember you ever editing and
that was the first video I ever made. Yep. The big wheel was called the Green Machine. That people saying the Green Machine.
The Green Machine. Mine wasn't green though. Mine was red.
Mine was black and yellow.
I want to say mine was red.
Black and yellow. For some reason, I want to say mine was BJ and the Bear. Was mine themed big wheel, but I may be wrong on that. But that's what I feel like. Mine was BJ and the Bear.
I saw some people asking about Laura's soap that I talked about last week. It was the needle point soap. Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Needle felted.
Yeah,
needle felted.
Yeah.
She sold out of it pretty quick, and I mean, rightfully so. It's absolutely beautiful. All of her soap is wonderful, but somebody sent me an email and asked when Laura would have the soap back in stock. So I immediately reached out to Laura, told her to let me know when it was back in stock because I would tell y'all. But I couldn't believe it had sold out that quick. I mean, it was like almost right after the live. So I went to Laura's website and I saw something that I haven't shared with y'all this year.
They were so cute last year.
They were so cute. And so many of y'all
It smelled so good.
Bought these for gifts. I don't care if you're an adult or a child. This is an amazing thing to have. It is Grinch goat milk soap. And she has everything in limited supply. So I'm quite certain this probably won't last till Christmas, but Laura's got those available right now at simplymakingit.com.
The green machine.
The green Grinch soap is wonderful.
I saw. So the Christmas movies are being, recommended to me and Mary Carl because we watch a movie almost or something every night.
Uh-huh.
And I'm trying to think if me and her actually saw the Jim Carrey Grinch. I don't know if we saw that one or not. We may have to
Don't
watch
ask
that one.
me.
We have to watch that one. I think we've seen every Christmas movie there is. But I don't know. We may have to go back to that. Sit and spin. Is that what somebody said? I like that one. Did you have
I
that?
don't like anything that goes in
Back
a
then,
circle.
that when you was a kid?
No, sir. No. Nothing that goes in a circle. Can't handle it. Can't handle it.
Oh, I got a slinky too.
Yeah, I had a slinky.
I like a slinky.
I
I
had a
tore it up
slinky.
within days. It
I
all tangled
I can
up.
remember going to stay at my aunt and uncle's house, and they had stairs, and I would put that slinky at the top. And
Did you have the metal one, or did you have that
the metal
cool
one.
rainbow tie-dye plastic
Well,
one?
initially I remember a metal one.
I had
think
the metal one.
as they changed, I think I ended up getting a different one.
I think some friends of mine had that cool, different color plastic one, but I had the straight up metal one.
You know how many attics are probably still filled with this stuff? Probably a lot.
Probably so.
Probably a whole lot.
No, Brooke and Mary Carl did not go see their movie on Saturday.
Oh, y'all, I'm sorry. I forgot.
Yep.
We did go to Alabaster, and we did look at the movies, but it was crowded, and I never would have thought that.
You thought everybody was watching?
I thought everybody was watching the game.
The Tide do their thing to the Auburn Tigers?
I did. I thought that it would not be crowded, but it was crowded, so we did not go. But we do intend to see it. It may be after it comes out on, one of the on-demand services.
Yeah,
I get tickled about that. I don't know why.
But yeah, Alabama did win Saturday.
We ate at the Olive Garden.
Y'all did.
That's Mary Carl's favorite place to eat. So we ate at the Olive Garden, and there was like nobody in the restaurant whatsoever.
They were either at the movies or watching the ball game.
That's right. And then we went and walked around Lowe's, which I had some things I needed to pick up. And she talked me into taking her to a clothing store that she liked. So
somebody just said a movie that me and Mary Carl have not watched. And I remember it came on every year for Christmas.
What's that?
Emmett Otter and the Jug Band.
Oh my gracious, that was the best movie of all time.
Goodness, we're not birds, we're a jug band.
That's right. It was so good.
So we had to find that one.
It was so good, but it was so generic even back then.
Oh man!
Remember, it was like the little bears just sat in the boat.
Yeah, sat in the boat.
And they weren't.
We're not birds. We're a jug band.
They were otters, weren't they?
Not everybody.
Oh. Okay.
Anyways, I told y'all I'm telling y'all, South Carolina's good. Somebody said the Gamecocks. I'm telling y'all, I've been saying it all year. They got some bad breaks, but yeah.
Somebody said what? I think they're saying what to Emmett Otters.
Emmett Otter and the Jug Band. It was just part of the movie where they had a tree house. And they said,
how do you remember that? I cannot remember that to save my life. And it was one of my favorites.
And that guy, and one of the characters said, we're not birds, we're a jug band. There was a jug band. Somebody blew in the jug.
I replaced that with something more important up here. That's why it's gone. So it's Tuesday, and we got to know what's for supper. What is for supper? I know Jamie's waiting on Timeout Tuesday probably, and
probably so.
We're getting into her time, but quickly, what is for supper? We will tell y'all. Jason forgot already. He asked me as soon as we sat down what was for supper.
I forgot.
And I told him I wasn't even telling him. So I'm going to let him
I remember,
tell you.
though, we're having broccoli and cheese soup, the broccoli from the garden. And it was absolutely delicious.
It's the best recipe I've ever used.
And I'm almost positive it's on our website.
You think?
I think it is, Brooke.
I don't think so.
I really do.
I don't think it is.
I'm gonna look.
Well, you look,
I'm
because
looking right now.
you were there. It is good, and we're gonna have it left over, and I have a good feeling it's gonna be just as good tonight
Oh, it's gonna be delicious.
as it was last night.
It's so good. It's such a great comfort food.
I don't think it's on there. I really don't.
It's not. I thought we had it on there. Oh well, I was wrong. You were right.
It's a rarity, but it's very
Oh,
good.
man.
You know, I thought about even making it on a video if we have enough broccoli in the garden, because it's just that good. It's worthy of sharing.
It's good. I may double up on broccoli next year. I may do a succession planting of broccoli next year.
And I cannot remember if I freeze dried broccoli or not. I don't have any in my pantry. I may have used it to cook with, but y'all tell me if I freeze dried broccoli or not, because if we have extra, I want to do that too.
Yeah, I think so.
Because neither Jason nor myself can remember if we did. I can't.
For some reason, I thought we did do broccoli,
and I don't think we did.
For some reason, I thought we freeze dried it. Jamie's on a work. Jamie's on a work trip, so Lester's gonna do it by himself.
Oh, I'm getting hammered.
Yeah.
I said he was 20 years older than you. He's gonna.
Oh, he's gonna get you.
He's gonna
More
get
likely,
me.
he's gonna get you.
Yeah, you look like I said something really bad.
He's gonna get you.
Mm-hmm.
I thought somebody was getting on to you for being.
No, Lester's gonna get on to me. Y'all don't tell him, and he won't ever know. Okay.
They're saying they don't think you did broccoli, so we might do broccoli.
Don't think so, because I have seen people that have done it, and I've often wondered what that tasted like. Maybe even cauliflower too, because you have some of that.
I got some of that. I do. We may harvest it a little early before that the teens come.
Yeah, let's get everything we can and preserve it.
And you up to freeze drying some calendulas?
Oh yeah. Will they go when the cold hits too?
Yeah. The blooms will. What blooms we got? The plants shouldn't though.
Yeah, I want to preserve as much as we can.
Okay.
And I can put the broccoli in the freeze dry the calendulas first, because the broccoli will still be.
That's right.
The flowers won't be freeze dryable, whereas the calendulas. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. Well, we have a video coming out tomorrow,
Mhm.
and I'll have one Thursday, schedule as planned. We should be back here on Saturday morning at around 8:00.
There you go. By the way, Nancy said Lester's only 22.
22. He's only 22.
Oh, me.
Well, we hope that y'all enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yes.
And hope Lester doesn't ring me out too hard.
Maybe not.
Okay, you gotta say it.
Guys, we'll see y'all on the next one, and y'all be good.